Amateur.
All right. So this weekend, my son was talking with various front office people and had what is probably one of the most brilliant ideas of his young life, which is really saying something because he's had a lot of good ideas. But he talked about the team store should be doing a Red Wolf waffle iron. So imagine the Red Wolf crest as a waffle iron.
Yes.
And then we just, the idea of a Red Wolf crest with chicken and waffles at the stadium just seems like a wonderful idea. The idea sells itself. I've always been partial to the idea of a Rusty the Red Wolf head cover for your golf bag. But I was also curious, guys, what merch ideas do you think you have?
Shirts that fit. That's more of a problem for me than it is for other people. Let's see.
As we both pick on Adam about getting to eat nachos.
Yes. Those shirts are getting tighter as we speak. All right, you guys ready?
Soccer chat with 2 T's because we're going to chat about soccer, but we're also in Chattanooga, so it's like a play on words. And Chattanooga is a soccer city.
Wait a second.
Eat your heart out, Alexi. Look at this. In off the post. And it's
Intro.
off the post. And it came off both posts and it came out. Are you kidding? Unbelievable.
So full disclosure, this is not off the post.
People are very confused.
Yeah, I didn't lob that off. So
all dozen of our listeners are wondering what's going on right now. It is not off the post, but it is the newest episode of Soccer Chat.
Soccer Chat.
Episode 9.
Yes.
Over here to my left, you see the sometimes producer, Adam. As in, sometimes he produces the show. Sometimes he doesn't help at all. And
You're welcome.
Also, senior correspondent, Wolfman Jeff.
Yes. All right. I got the insurer ready to go in case if the blood sugar drops. So
there you go. So we don't want to go back over this weekend, obviously. Sad, frustrating, disappointing. And that's just when you talk to the players, let alone fans. So I thought we'd try to move things in a positive direction as we look to bounce back this week. So tell me, what do you guys think has been a bright spot this young season? We're 5 games in. What's something that's pleasantly surprised you?
Well, I got to say, our attacking has we were attacking a bit last year, but it's a culture of attack that's a lot stronger this year. So that's one of the first things as far as for our approach.
I'm because someone came in and then left the door open, so I couldn't even hear myself. So that was fun. I'm going to say the biggest surprise or thing that I've been happiest with is how well we've done considering the injuries that we came into the season with. I think if you look at this team as a whole, we're still not at 100%. And so to have the results we've had so far, I'm going to take as a positive.
Yeah, I would agree. Sitting where we are in the table, we're actually
second on points per game.
Second on points per game. Now, we'll talk standings in a minute, but yeah, to be in that spot with points per game, and you feel like this team hasn't even played its best game yet. For me, one of the other bright spots is a signee we brought in, who, we didn't know a whole lot about him. It's Daniel Navarro. He had come. He played 1 game with the team in the inaugural season, and I remember being fairly impressed, feeling like, hey, this guy's not bad. And then, of course, he witnessed whatever crime it was that caused him to go into witness protection. Actually kidding. He was on a short-term loan, and because of his injury, he went back to his team for the medical team to take care of him. But coming to the team this year, he's really one of the best central defenders that I think the Red Wolves have ever seen. Calm, poised, makes very good passes from the back line to get the attack that Jeff talked about started, is very good at winning tackles, not someone that gives away a lot of silly fouls to give the other team set pieces in dangerous areas. So he's definitely been a bright spot for me.
All right, I've got a bright spot, and I was excited about him coming, but it's not just what he does on the ball, which is great, but what he does to really rally everyone together. And that's our captain, Jose Carrera Garcia. And I've been impressed with his focus, but you could tell his interaction with the rest of the players that he truly is their captain. And so it was hard because of course, our first captain was Beatty, and those are hard shoes to fill. And then it was Josue, who was there the first year. So you had a guy coming in for the first year and taking the captaincy. I think he did a really good job.
All right. Good topic, everyone.
Good times. Good times.
The next thing that I had us talking about is these League One standings, looking at where we stand. So we're tied with Union Omaha, both of us right now at 2 points per game. So I think on goal differential, you would say that Omaha probably has us. You've got other teams like Fort Lauderdale that right now have a lot more points, but also have played quite a few more games than we have. And that says a lot about where they are in the standings. As jumbled as this year is, I don't know why anyone would look at anything besides a points per game table, and why they don't have that sort of option on the League One website.
Yeah, this is just basically just showing the last 5 games on the right, where we're standing at. We've dropped down to 6th. Part of it was, we're still at only 5 games, so we're still 2 to 3 games, or if you're a Fort Lauderdale, 5 games in hand against them. So we could be doing better. That last, we've only had the 1 draw and the 1 loss. So the 3 wins, I think if we had played the same amount as other people, I think we would be a little higher up. I think that's where that's a little bit misleading. But when we look at this one, when we go to the power rankings, that does change things. And the power rankings this year was not kind to us. We dropped 3 spots, and which is absolutely the Tormenta game. And and moving up, Fort Lauderdale moved 6 spots.
Stupid.
Yeah, I mean, I that right there was like, wait, I could see moving up. I like 3 is like the most I can imagine you would move. And really 1 or 2 is how you should be moving, but 6 spots. And so it's they got 4 points. Yeah, they had two matches against Ford Madison and North Carolina, which North Carolina is down here, and Madison is they're up here.
They're in their traditional over thought of position.
Well, North Carolina, the only team in the league yet to win a game. So
yes, they only have 1 point. Yeah, they have 1 point. So you've got to balance that out. And so I do think that the fact that I think it's just because the Fort Lauderdale had two games and they won, so they did move up. But I can't see them moving up 6 positions. So, from 11 to 5.
I will say part of doing a power rankings is you have to create intrigue, right? And the only way you're going to do that is by doing stupid stuff with the power rankings, like. I fully expect that whatever reason, they'll jump Union Omaha above Greenville at some point for no reason whatsoever. So people will discuss it, especially if it's far away from when they've played each other. But having both Richmond and Fort Lauderdale above us on power rankings, I believe we played head to head, right? And those games had results for those 2 teams, right? That weren't in their favor. So proving that power rankings are stupid. And, we're going to play a team below us in the power rankings this weekend, and we're going to win. And they're going to be like, well, they were below you in the power rankings. It's just so stupid. And that's just the nature of doing these. But they're getting us to talk about it, so they're accomplishing their goal.
So, hey, free airtime, power rankings. There you go. All right. I'll go back to the schedule. That makes you feel better. Not the schedule. To the standings. Sorry.
So, Jeff, is our guest waiting in the wings just yet?
She's not in here yet. I can ask her to come on in. because we said 20 minutes later, but that's fine. But let's see if we can get her on in here.
Shocking that we're actually sticking to a schedule and not,
I know. Well, we have to
for ad nauseum.
No, it's things are. I do find that I think it's a healthy league that we're in, and I think things are going to go well for us. I like the fact that we're going to have more spots for the playoffs. I think that gives us a little bit more. We've got another team in there. So with seeing the other teams coming in next year, I think the league's going to get better and better. And just a minute, we'll have a guest come in talking about how the league on the big picture is continuing to grow. While we have her come in, is there any other team like a North Carolina and Richmond was that you can see coming from championship that may decide to make the move to League One?
Yeah, Charlotte's going to at some point.
Okay. The Battery?
No, not Charleston. Charlotte.
Oh, Charlotte. Sorry.
Your Independence. Charlotte Independence.
Gotcha.
There's no way they survive as a championship team playing against MLS even with that the newly revamped Memorial Stadium. They're going to drop down if they survive at all. If they don't fold, they'll drop down to League One.
That being the case, you might want to keep an eye on Austin Bold, who are kind of in the same boat. They, my brother who lives in the area said that basically they play on opposite ends of town. And, Austin's kind of a surprisingly big growing city. So the folks that live on that end may continue to support that club and keep them at that level. But that's one that I think could be a candidate for dropping down if they find that they're having trouble competing with the MLS club in town.
Not that they can drop down because there's someone else in their spot. How is Miami FC competing in championship knowing that there is a MLS Miami now?
Well, they're the only actual Miami team in Miami. MLS Miami plays in Fort Lauderdale, so that works to their advantage. But once the stadium gets put there, I think you might see an issue. But that ownership's not going to be one that's going to want to jump down to League One. They left NISA already because they wanted a better, higher-end competition, and I think they're going to continue that way.
So do you see any NISA teams that might want to go ahead and move over?
They wouldn't move to League. I don't think you're going to see any that'll move to League One. There's no real gain for them for that, in my opinion. I wouldn't be surprised with some of the issues that NISA just had this week, where 2 of their games weren't even streamed, even though that's part of the requirements for to be a professional league. You have to have some sort of streaming. I wouldn't be surprised if you saw a Detroit City move over to championship, and I would have never said that even a week ago. But their fans on various social media sites have basically said, we're so tired of this poorly run Wild West where you've got teams like Cal United and LA Force that are not even attempting to stream. One of the teams had to move fields 3 times because they couldn't get to where they were. That was the game versus Chattanooga FC that just happened last night. What's even crazier about that is they couldn't get a stream out, yet a Chattahooligan flew out to California, grabbed his phone, and streamed it on a Facebook feed for him so that the fans over here could actually watch the game. How much of an insult is that to that team that you can't get a stream up, but a dude from Chattanooga can fly out and get one up for them to be able to watch it? I think those type of things is going to lead to your teams like Detroit. You're already seen it with Oakland Roots. I could see some of those other teams like Maryland Bobcats or New Amsterdam that have desires to be in a stable quality league doing that. I don't see CFC doing that for a couple of reasons. One, franchise rights and the fact that there are territorial rights in the USL, which I don't want to go too far down that road. I'm not a fan of it, but it is a thing. And I don't see, unless Bob decides he's willing to let them in, that happening. But if you look outside it, those are some of the teams. I don't see any of the California teams being something that USL is interested in. They already have a team in San Diego. They already have a team in Orange County. There is no strength for them to go into that area. And I think the only chances that you see is going to be your Detroits and your New York teams. Okay, yeah. Well, the Cosmos have already hit a pause on things, so we'll see if they happen in championship. But speaking about expanding, our league is the USL is expanding back or reopening their women's league. Of course, we've been blessed with a very intense quality side here in Chattanooga with the Chattanooga Lady Red Wolves. And lo and behold, my good friend Gretchen Hammel.
Hi, Gretchen.
Hey,
Hey,
Gretchen.
Hello. Hello, everybody.
How are you?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Hey, thank you for joining us. You guys, now we
Thank you
talked
for having me.
on Sunday night before the game, and that was actually part of, you started off our Off the Post, and that was before the game in anticipation of how good of a time it was. How did you feel the reception was for you guys at CHI Memorial on Sunday?
Do you mean the reception, like
With the fans?
With
Yeah.
the fans? Oh, wow. I mean, always. They're always very receptive and warm and supportive. We had it was a great environment, great culture out there. Yeah. So I think they were proud of our performance, of how well the girls did. It was just a very positive night, and it was just such a good night, for the ladies to start on. You know, a good leg to start out on, in the CHI Memorial Stadium. It was just a good night. Things just went smoothly. I mean, for us, the challenge, because this was the first time that our operations as the women's side that we have been at the stadium. So we were, a little nervous about, okay, how are things going to run over here for the women's team in the stadium? And so there was those challenges of just operational challenges, and we were just very, very fortunate. Everybody was just worked, just did what we're supposed to. Everything fell into place, and it was just a good evening. And the fans were, as always, terrific. So yeah, it was a great night.
So you've got another big one coming up on Friday against Peachtree City MOBA.
Right.
And folks that want to come check out that match, what should they know about Peachtree? What can they look forward to?
Yeah, so Peachtree is always a really competitive game. They have a lot of good talent on their team. So I think, it's one of those games that can go either way. For us, it's always been a very competitive game. The score has always been, sometimes we've had scores with them that have been, pretty lopsided in one direction or the other. And then we've had some really close games. So Peachtree MOBA to us is kind of a wild card. But it's always a good competitive game, and we always look forward to playing them. And it's a great club. So we're excited, expect a lot of positive things tomorrow night. And I think our women players are, we're just kind of riding that wave of being so excited to play in the stadium, and we're going to be riding that wave, I think, this whole season. So I would expect the fans to see a team that when we're playing in that stadium, they're just going to see our best every time that we're in CHI, especially because these women just are so pumped to play in there. You guys just don't, I mean, you probably do know, but I mean, they're just so pumped. And so, yeah, I think it's going to be a good game. Yeah.
So Gretchen, I'm just going to jump right into what I'm pretty sure most of those that are watching this or listening as we release it as a podcast are wondering, and that's about other announcements that you made in the last week. Can you tell us just a little bit about what USLW is and why it is a good fit for the Chattanooga Lady Rebels?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So I think one of the things that what we really like about the USL and the USLW is that the men's side is already a part of that organization, the USL, and we already know just the quality of programming that you get with the USL, and I think with the women's side, I think kind of one of the missions for the Red Wolves, and I think with any organization, is to kind of have a level of consistency under the same umbrella, and that kind of operationally things are kind of more flowing, and the USL we know is just such a good organization, and just their path to pro, it's just a quality program, a quality organization, and we know with the women's side that it's going to be the same thing, and it's a quality product, and their model fits what we're after with the Chattanooga Red Wolves organization, and I just think it just unifies us as a brand together with the first team men's, first team women's, and then hopefully through the academy, it's just looking a little more unified, and I'm excited to see what's ahead. And then I also think that the W League, there is a, as far as I know, I'm not really sure as far as the pro the pro side of things is, but that's something that we are really looking at is a pro opportunity for the women. And I think we have that. We're a good place for that. We have a good culture to develop and to build a women's professional team. And we just have to make sure that all the logistics and all of the, that we have everything in place that we need to do to run it well. And with the USL, as we know with the men's side, it's a good model for that. And I think that's kind of where we're headed, and we're excited.
So do you think it'll increase chances of possibly getting loan players from the top league into the USLW?
That would be great. I'm not sure how the partnerships at this point are going to work with all of that.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, to me, it sounds like a good model to me. And I think where the USL is wanting to head, it sounds like that could be a potential in the future.
So next year, you guys start play, and so the Chattanooga Lady Red Wolves, because there's two teams this year,
Mm-hmm.
the main team and the U21. Mm-hmm. Next year, the team that we know as the main team is going to be in USLW. Right. So our U21, are they going to remain in the league they're in now, or is there something going to be transitioning there?
Yes. So we to me, that that's also some things that are still being talked about.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just one opinion. So, but I absolutely love the WPSL. We've had such a great relationship with them. So there is absolutely zero like that we would be walking away from the WPSL in an uncontent or unhappy with them. We have had such a good experience with the WPSL, and all the teams that are in our conference. We're kind of like a family almost. Like when you talk about MOBA, we're a family. When we play them, we know each other. The players know each other. The GMs, the coaches. I mean, when we see each other before the game, we're hugging, and we're hugging after the game. So yeah, I mean, this is going to be hard. This is going to be hard. It's going to be a big change for the women's team. But we are hoping. If things, we would love to be able to invest in that age group in the Red Wolves organization. So if we do remain and have a U21 team, I think that's very likely that we would love to keep that team in the WPSL.
Now, currently, you're in a league that has almost like 100 teams into it, and you're in a division that has a smaller conference, and now you're being brought into something that's a little more elite because there is only 8 teams that are there. So how did it feel getting the Chattanooga Red Wolves being on the ground level of one of these 8 teams? And you could see some of these markets are quite large.
Right. Yeah, that is, now as you put it that way, that is a little intimidating. Yeah, I mean, I just like, for a split second, I was like, oh my goodness, yeah. So you've got like New York, and you've got all of these, Tormenta and these big cities. But I mean, we just know Chattanooga. We just have something special here with the community and the culture that gets behind soccer. And I just think that we're like the Chihuahua of soccer,
So you're talking about kind of synergy with the men and things like that. How excited are you at the prospect of regional rivalries with South Georgia Tormenta and Greenville, and how those tie into the men's club as well?
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I think we're going to have to develop those rivalries. It might just be something that, this first year, like anything, there's going to be, it's going to just be like getting to know each other, getting to know the products, seeing what's out there. We're not going to know a lot about each other, but I think those rivalries will just naturally develop. And yeah, especially the ones that are closest to us. I have a feeling that the ones that the programs and the organizations that are closer, for whatever reason, you kind of have that rivalry for whatever reason. I think maybe people, you know more people within and out of those organizations that are closer to you. So yeah, I expect total rivalry to develop at some point.
Do you think this is going to improve your recruitment from going from, hey, you get to visit SSA or get to visit Huntsville, which those are good markets, but you get to go to Hartsford, you get to go to Minnesota, you get to go to DC. Do you think how is that going to help on the recruitment side?
People in Hartford don't normally want to go to Hartford, Jeff.
Is my phone? Is my pay?
You disappeared.
We have your audio. We can hear you. We just unfortunately can't see you. So our podcast is a lot less good looking.
It says device is not connected. So you know what? We want to make apologies to the city of Hartford because Hartford, we know you're powerful and we know you've got the ability. So Hartford, please bring us back Gretchen. Oh, they did it.
I think we've got Gretchen back.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
So let me just tell you this. My daughter's friends, their phones, they're young girls, and their friends calls, everything comes through our phones, mine and my husband's phones. And so anytime my little girls friends call, it comes straight to my phone. And so if I don't answer right away, they keep calling. It's so fun. So anyway, sorry about that.
My wife does that to keep Adam from calling me too much.
Yeah.
So.
It's a smart move.
Yeah, that's probably good. But anyways, no, what was the question again?
Oh, as far as for when you recruit for next year,
Yeah.
is that how much of an impact is it going to be on your recruitment of saying, hey, not only it's a change from going, you get to go to Birmingham and Huntsville, but to going to you get to go to New York and DC, you get to go to Minnesota and so forth, and we're talking plane trips rather than a bus ride.
Right. Yes. And I do think that there is just some sort of level of, higher, I don't know, DC United and then Tormenta and all of these clubs, we know with the USL that there is sort of an underlying impression that there is kind of a higher level there. But yeah, I definitely think that based on what we know about the USL and I think that quality is definitely going to be a priority for the USL. It's going to be a priority for us. And I think these clubs as we know with USL and what the model that they're after as far as pursuing that pro development, that pro model is kind of where they're headed. I would say each club has their eyes set on getting the tip top players that we can get, and recruitment's going to be important from each club. And I think that players are going to see that too. Because of the USL and because of what the USL has already represented on the men's side and just the quality and of course the big cities, you're playing at a higher level with a bigger market of players in those bigger cities. So I definitely think that there is going to be a higher motivation to recruit. There is going to be more players interested, a higher level player interested to play in that women's USL. And that's something that we're after and we're excited about. And I think you're right. I think that is something that's going to definitely be the case with the level of play.
Now, Gretchen, you may have insight into this and can't share it, or you may not have insight, but they did state that their expectation is to have 30 teams ready for next year. And my question to you is, are there any markets in this area that are around here that you would like to see be part of that early start?
Oh, goodness. That I would like to. I absolutely love our WPSL teams. So I want them to go where we go. I love them. We have the best conference. And we just, like I said, we're a family. And so that is going to be hard that if we do have a little bit of a break here. But yeah, if it were up to me, I would love for our whole conference just to stay together. That would be so good. So ideal. I don't really know specifically. I hear things kind of like here and there of clubs mentioning that, okay, maybe this is a possibility, but I couldn't say one way or the other because I think people, like and with us, the news kind of comes out pretty quickly.
Yeah.
It's like nobody hears anything and then it comes out quick because it remains private for a reason. Jobs are on the line or just, making decisions and finances and all of these things that, have to kind of take place and be protected for a while until you can really make that decision. And so, but I don't really know. I really don't know. But yeah, I love all of our WPSL teams that we play. And yeah, I would love them to go with us. But all these clubs have to do what's best for them. I mean, financially kind of dictates a lot of these things. You know, what teams are able to do financially is kind of just the biggest reason why clubs can do what they can and can't do. And so that's a good question.
You talked about that financial investment. How much did that involve when you were first talking with Bob about starting the Lady Red Wolves, the investments he's made with the youth academy, trying to build those girls up, supporting you and starting the U21 this year? You know, how big of an investment has that been? How great has it been to partner with Bob in bringing these opportunities for young women here to Chattanooga?
Yeah, it has been great, and I love it that Bob sees the value of the women's side of the game, like he does the men's side of the game. And to me, that's very important, and that's the way it should be. So yeah, I mean, Bob has been very supportive of the women's side, and he's very encouraging. And so whenever we do good, I'll get a text from Bob, and he's like, great stuff, and we're watching, we're supporting you. And so he came to our red and white match this year, he and his lovely family. So he's very supportive of the women's side, and so he's generous. I think he loves to be around the game. He's got sons that love to be around the game. And so having Bob on your side is definitely a good thing. So definitely a good thing.
So Gretchen, I'm going to ask, how did you guys manage to have a better looking kit than the guys, and then I can't purchase it?
I'm gonna second that. It is a fantastic looking kit.
I love the kit. Yeah. The kit,
it's wonderful.
It looks great. It stands out.
I'm not trying to cast aspersions on the men's, but you guys have a very, very solid kit this year.
Yeah, it really stands out. Yeah, it's great.
What stands out about it? Like, what do you like about it?
I like the colors and the fact that it still has our burgundy red, but there's so many red kits, especially in the USL League One, that how you've leaned into the cinnamon and to the tans, I think it really pops out. It's really good.
Yeah, it's a quality look. I actually went down to try to see if you were selling it in the merch kit, and they unfortunately were not. But
oh my goodness!
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm actually out of town this weekend, but my daughter's wife, son, they will all be there tomorrow, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to hear from them. Hey, how can I get one of those kits? So
yeah. Oh well, that's great to hear. Yes, that is great to hear. We do have a few extra. I'm not sure how many we're going to be able to sell, but just to be honest with you, we're still kind of we're not. Kind of one of the challenges and one of the good things about the WPSL is that we can kind of have girls kind of come in and kind of have to, because it's summer and players are working, players are coming up and down in pro and leaving to other contracts. So we still have players that are kind of coming in and out at this point. And so we buy extra jerseys. And so once we are final on our roster and everything's final and we'll have some jerseys to sell, but it won't be a ton, but we will have some. And so I would just keep asking.
Order a couple 3XL.
Yes.
Or four 3XL? If you've got.
Yeah. Wait.
Or four.
Wait. So 3XL or 3
or 4XL.
Oh, 4XL. Okay.
Yeah,
4XL
in other words,
3XL.
No, that's the number of X's
they can't
on the
step away
shirt,
from the
not
nachos.
how many jerseys to order.
Yes, how many nachos? So we're really big fans. When we say we're really big fans, we're being literal.
Oh.
Hey, we got a question here from one of our viewers. Mm-hmm. And actually, I'll make the producer work. Do you want to go ahead and read that one, or can you see that there, Adam?
I can see it, and I put it up for you.
Super fan Kay Baker.
Yep.
There you go. You can read it on the screen. How about that?
So why is there a U21 team? Why don't they play with the main team?
Yeah. Okay. That's good. Hey, Kay. I know who Kay is. Hello, Kay.
She's subtle.
Yes. That's fine. That's fine. That's a good question. So there is a U21 team. So it's kind of so the U21 team developed because the WPSL's one of their primary purposes is to be to be a conduit for these college players that play in college, and then the summer they don't really have anywhere to train or to play, but then they have to prepare for their fall season. So the WPSL, one of the main reasons that they developed or started was to develop a league, to start a league for these women college players so they could have somewhere to train and play in the summer. And so this league the WPSL has just grown and grown and grown. There's over 140 teams in it's the largest soccer federation in the world. And they are it's just humongous. And so like I said, like one of those primary purposes, but what happens on these teams is it is a very competitive league. And you have a lot of players so you have the NWSL, which are that top tier pro league. But then you've got the WPSL that's underneath that. And that's where a lot of you've got college players in there. You've got these players that have come down off of pro contracts. You've got players that are trying to get in their pro contracts. Then you've also got high school players that are good enough to play. So you've got most of these teams will have at least 40 players in their player pool. And this is a lot of women that are wanting to play soccer, and they haven't, either they haven't gotten that pro contract yet, or like I said, just you've got a lot of groups of soccer players that they're catering to. And so what's happening is there's a lot of players that are in that player pool that really don't get a lot of playing time, because you've got a lot of the players that are getting the playing time in the first tier teams in the WPSL are going to be a lot of your college graduates, are going to be players that have come off of pro contracts like Carly Banks, someone like that's coming down. So you've got a lot of these high school, really elite high school players and college players, younger college players that aren't getting into the games. And so the WPSL developed the U21 Reserve League this year so that these younger players could get into some games, and to prepare them for their college career. And yeah, we don't have all of the U21s on there yet, but there are some of them there. And it's so that they can get some playing experience over the summer, because it is one of the main missions for the WPSL is to support those players, those college players, and to give them. So a lot of these players are playing now, getting an opportunity to play. Like tomorrow, our U21s are playing, and they get a chance to play, and they're playing against some really good competition tomorrow. So,
and Gretchen, sometimes they do get pulled up though as well, right? Like Zoe played.
Yeah, that's why I brought it in there. Who else in the U21s got a chance to play with the first team so far this year outside of Zoe?
So pretty much like everyone that you see right there: Maddie Farrell, Zoe Mize, Ashley Grant. Ashley will be on the first team roster tomorrow.
Okay.
Zoe Mize has gotten in. Maddie Farrell, who is a junior at Tribeca University, she has gotten a lot of minutes on that first team. And then I'm trying to think who else has gotten. Kate Dirksey, who is a starter center back at Lee University, has gotten minutes on both sides. And Katie Phillips, who is a player at Tennessee Wesleyan, she's an outside back, has gotten.
She's on the U21.
And then you also have.
Okay. I thought she was first team. Okay. So the other thing, the other aspect with this, of course, we're building this pyramid. Yeah. I think we're getting a little sound issue. Sounds like someone's eating ice. It could be those in Hartford are listening in, and they're chewing at the bit. The fact that we had insulted them a little bit earlier, but as we're building on these levels, also the impact on the academy level, which would be the younger players. I mean, the youth, in particular, like the youth in Chattanooga. How do you think this creation of the USL Women, how is that going to impact our academy? Also, women who are watching, young girls watching and seeing something bigger and greater happening in Chattanooga.
Okay, so can you still hear me? I kind of couldn't hear.
I can, yes.
Part of that question.
Well, I was just saying about with the creation of the USLW, how do you think this is going to have a positive impact on the academy as well as girls in the stands realizing you can dream bigger?
Oh yeah, I think exactly what you just said. I mean, always. I mean, I think like just we touched on a little bit before. I guess is just that the Red Wolves. We want to provide the best soccer experience that we can in our community and the highest level for our players and the best experience that they can have. And we want to be able to create opportunities for these players to play at the highest level that they're capable of and to support those opportunities for them. And so for us to make the move and to make, I think for the Red Wolves, and I think it's just something that it's, if that has been just something that's been important to them is always the quality, improving the quality, putting the best product out there. It's been their mission, and our mission is to do that. And I think us moving forward is always just a very it's always very comforting and very just such a positive. Should just be a positive I don't know what I'm trying to say, but but that it's a good thing because we're moving forward, and I think that's a very encouraging, inspiring thing for these young kids to see as an organization that they can trust an organization. We're moving forward, we're making advances, we're improving, always looking for ways to get better and to move forward in the industry, and so that's something that I think the kids and parents and young women hopefully see that that we're always making those strides to move forward. So yeah, I think that's definitely something that that these kids. Does that answer that at all?
Oh yeah, it does. Okay. I'm throwing a lot of questions at you, Alex. You got anything else?
Yeah, I think last question. You've had a lot of history making this week. Of course, first game at CHI Memorial, announcing the Women's W League. So what history are you planning on breaking tomorrow evening? Is it 7 p.m. kickoff?
It's 7 p.m. kickoff. Well, for me, as the GM, my goal is always for everything just to run smoothly, no problems. Just keep everything calm. But yeah, just another win under our belt. Just we want to keep adding more fans to our games and just building more support for the women's game in Chattanooga. And so that's something that we're just aspiring to, hopefully getting more kids to come to our games. We've got some walkout kids from the Red Wolves Academy coming to walk out our players tomorrow. So that's cool. Always a special thing to do, is to have some of these younger girls, especially, to hold the hands of these women players and to walk them out on the field. It's such a good experience. And so, yeah, we're looking to get another win under our belt tomorrow, provide a good experience, a good experience for our community. And then just to continue creating good role models and good experiences for the community. That's always just the top of our list. So yeah, it's a good question.
All right. Last question. How awesome was my son as a ball boy on Sunday?
Yeah.
He's precious. Absolutely precious.
Takes after his mom.
Does he? Yeah. He looks like you. He looks just like you.
Oh, poor kid.
Yes. But no, he's precious, and he's just so confident, and he's just over there talking. And then we had to make sure that he didn't lose his iPad, and he's just so cute, just a cute kid. And yeah, you can tell he's being raised right. So yeah, he's a lot of fun. We've got some pictures of him, so I need to send them to you.
Oh yeah, fantastic.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Gretchen, good luck tomorrow evening. We know Wolfman Jeff will be there. We know Adam's Clan will be there. And we'll see how things go for me at work tomorrow, but we may be there as well.
Okay.
Thank you so much for taking the time to join us.
Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys, and we would love you to have all of you at anything that we can. Just come on, and we'll be there, and hope we make you proud. So thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Gretchen.
Thank you, Gretchen.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
All right. So that was Gretchen Hammel, the general manager for the Chattanooga Lady Red Wolves, currently playing in the WPSL and moving up to USL Women's next year. So a lot of fun stuff, a lot of interesting stuff happening. What else is happening here in the Red Wolves world there, Alex?
All right. Well, next thing we're going to move to, let's talk about this Saturday, late night. Going to have to break out the sleeping cap. And game kicks off at 10 p.m. in Tucson.
Yeah.
So the two notes that to me are the most interesting about Tucson. So I know that we have looked, most people probably what they remember the last of Tucson was their 4-goal beatdown against Fort Lauderdale. But actually, since that match, they have had 2 wins and a draw, or at least a win and a draw in those following games. So they've bounced back well. We have never won a game in Tucson. We had two nights that we really would like to forget in the first season, and didn't have a chance to go out there and play them last year. So, this is a tough game going way out west. Not starting till 10 o'clock. Right now, the guys are actually having a practice, trying to get themselves get their body clocks used to playing at that late hour, or what feels like a late hour for them. So, Jeff, what are you expecting to see from Tucson?
Well, kind of going back at it, one thing that's interesting to note is they've played only 2 matches so far at home, and both of those, Alex, ended up in a 1-1 draw. So they've got 2 wins, 2 losses, and 2 draws. So their 2 wins and 2 losses have been on the road, and they've got not just draws, but 1-1 draws each time on May 8th against Madison, and then the last match when they hosted Toronto FC as they moved down from Casa Grande. So they've already played Toronto twice, and this has to do with what's available. So I think that's an interesting stat. You would think of, they've got their 2-2-2, and you would think that their 2 wins may have been the ones on the home, but they're doing well. They're doing well at home, but they're not winning at home, but they're getting draws. So I think that's just an interesting stat. I think we've gotten draws there, but not wins there. So that's could be interesting. Going into it, it's let's see if we could get the let's see if we could turn. I think this is going to be a key for this year, is how do we turn our losses to a draw and turn our draws to wins. I think we both felt that when we were at Gillette in that draw, we could have turned that into a win rather easily, and that when we were at Tormenta, the last match, that draw could have easily turned into, our loss could have turned into a draw. So I'm kind of interested to see what we can make sure that we take care of business.
So it's a really important game as the team tries to bounce back. What changes do you think you'll see? I think one of the most obvious, and it really just has to do with him being young. Jackson Dietrich got a start down in Tormenta. I would expect him probably to move to the bench for this one. Someone like Jimmy Villalobos to move in. But is there anyone else that you suspect may be changing? From what I'm hearing, I don't know that Jorge Luna is going to be completely fit yet. I think if the team had Rafa Menzigan available, they wouldn't want Tucson to know that until he comes out to warm up. So what do you think are other changes that they might make?
Actually, the guys came to the women's game on Sunday, a lot of them there. So I got a chance to talk to Rafa a little bit, and Jorge was there. They're doing better, but I get the sense they're not quite ready to get back into the lineup. So I would expect the 3 of those who were there on our out list will still be out. Obviously, we know Ami's out the whole time. I think Jorge is going to be out. Rafa will be out. I did see pictures of Tim Trilk warming up with the team today and a couple of days ago. So of anyone who's been out that could be back in, I think it's going to be Tim. And but this is our lineup from last week is almost identical, or not identical, but very close to the lineup it's been for the past few matches. I do think that you're going to see our midfield the same. The only thing is maybe bringing back in Villalobos, unless Rafa's back. But I still think if Rafa's available, he won't start. So I don't think Dietrich is going to start. I think in his place, you're either going to see Jimmy Villalobos or you're going to be seeing Ro Pineda at the start there. I still expect Markey's going to be coming off as an impact player. And I still think that you're going to be seeing the same with Walefi coming off the bench. Rather, I don't think he's quite there to start the whole match. I'd love to see him coming off there and playing. So that way, I think we do play very well with Ramos and Navarro. If I could pick our back line, those would be the back two I would pick. But Sebastian is doing well. And so, and I think Esparza is improving onto that left side, even though in this picture is showing him on the right. Ricketts, that's his spot on the right as our right back. That's not going anywhere. I think Esparza's working on there a little bit better. And so we'll see what happens with that. Now, I hate to announce this, but it looks like my good friend Alex was decided he wanted to go get some more nachos, and I'll have to check with him to see. So how was the nacho refill there, Alex?
It was delicious, very filling. So it seemed like a natural time to go grab something. Good. So I think I would keep an eye on possibly seeing Ray Ortiz join the starting lineup. He is a player. The whole front office is very excited about him coming and joining the team. So he may not be completely ready yet, as he just joined the team a couple weeks ago. But I think he's someone to keep an eye on, and I would not be surprised to see Juan Galindrez be the one starting up top over Blake Frischnecht to see if maybe he can get something going from that number 9. We still want to see just a little bit more from those number 9s up front that we're seeing there. So now would be the time for painful predictions. Jeff, how do you see this game finishing?
Well, part of me wanted to go with the 1-1 because that's what it seems like things happen in Tucson that way. But I'm going to be more positive. I'm going to go for a 1-2 Red Wolves win. I think we're either going to go down early and then come back, or we'll go up and then they'll come back. But at the very end, we're gonna come back with a great win, and it's going to be in the last 5 to 10 minutes.
It's a game where I think we feel a lot of pressure to bounce back. I am afraid it's going to end up as a 1-1 or 2-2 draw. That either we're going to start a game slow and have to dig ourselves from behind, or we'll being out west late, things may kind of break down at the end and cause us to come away with that draw. But I think it's going to be a fun, competitive match, and I'll be napping most of Saturday to make sure I can stay up and enjoy that, and maybe even record off the post.
Okay, well, I'm not sure if I can record quite that late. It'll be past midnight, and I'll be turning into a pumpkin.
I mean, you're a whole hour ahead of us.
Well, I'm behind you. It's
behind, right?
Yeah. So it would be. Well, that's true. But we'll have to probably do the off the post. We'll get that worked out. There will be an off the post.
We'll bring you a Sunday brunch off the post.
Yeah. So it really depends on how well we play, of how excited. So it may not be a really exciting off the post we got to get out, or an off the post we're going to decide we're going to put off until we have to.
There you go.
Hopefully, I do think it's going to be tight. And if it's a draw, I think it'll be an almost win rather than an almost loss. Mm-hmm. And the weird thing with that, Alex, is an almost win sometimes feels more disappointing than an almost loss. So like when you win it back, when you almost lost, but you pulled it back, you feel like, yay, we pulled it through. But when you almost win, which meant you played better, it feels more like a loss. And it's just kind of a weird psychology with that.
So we'll try to rapid fire the rest of these as we are fastly approaching an hour. But we want to say a congratulations to the 2009 Academy boys, Tennessee State champions. So congrats, first state championship for the Chattanooga Red Wolves Academy. in their history. It's the first year that they've had teams in the state league, so we're very excited for those young men. Congrats.
Yep.
Dalton Red Wolves have a game coming up this Saturday on the road against Ogden City. I believe they've got a draw and a loss in their first 2 matches, so they're looking to bounce back. And Dalton Red Wolves as well on the road. I can't remember where it is they're playing, but they're on the road hoping to they're in Asheville, trying to end a 3-game skid. So best of luck to Dalton as they head out to North Carolina, and hope they can do that. So the Lady Red Wolves we talked about, you saw all the off the post stuff about the victory. They're going to be playing Friday, so all of us were at the game. And so Jeff, who do you think you were most impressed by? Who were the ladies out there that you really enjoyed watching?
Well, one I had to interview, and that's Sanat Olo, and I think I did that right. Sanat Olo, and she's got a click, and that's her actual. That X is pronounced like a click. She was so fast and so agile, and I think I referred to her as kind of like their Marky. Insofar, her ball handling skills was like a point guard. I mean, she was just everywhere, and you knock her over, she just gets back up almost in the same move, and she outpaces the defender and gets it back in there. I think she was fantastic. I think Summer did really well, especially in the second half. Sue, who's had gotten the brace in the first half, obviously very impressive as well. So.
Yeah, so Sino and Sue, who you talked about, trying to remember which college that she plays for. She is Korean by birth, and just the two of them, their interchange in the midfield, the way they were pinging balls back and forth and working around defenders, especially in the first half, it was very impressive. Those were the two that were on my list. I think we had really calm and composed central defenders that did a great job. The possession numbers, if someone was keeping track of them, it was something like Alex playing FIFA. I play on the easiest level because I'm almost 40 and just don't have time to be good at video games. So it was just one of those things where it just felt like this video game set on easy, and they were passing the ball around and working in groups, and it was very impressive to watch.
Yeah, it was like Gretchen put in all of the cheat modes in ahead of time.
So definitely, if you've got nothing else going on Friday, get out there and watch them. It's a lot of fun. They'll have a couple more home games at the end of June. If you've got some other prior commitment and can't particularly make it this Saturday,
then blow it off and come anyway.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right. Last couple things here, Jeff.
All right.
European Championship starting tomorrow, 3 p.m.
Yes.
So not a lot of work being done in the Soccer Chat offices in the midday. We don't need to go, deep dive, but who do you see coming out of it as the winner? Maybe who's your final?
Well, there's no shock that the ones I follow happen to be the ones in my team. And there's one country you're going to be surprised. You won't even guess which one.
It's definitely not England.
Actually, the second one is England because of Connor Cody. And so I have Portugal and England. I'm picking in the finals. And actually right now as it stands, I think England is looking better than Portugal. But Portugal, they have so many experienced players who've been at that level. Whether it's on the national team or individually. I mean, you've got some of the top players in the world that they just know how to bring out a win. So, but I'm not knocking out the UK. So I think the UK may actually take it from Portugal.
Okay. I'm checking real quick to make sure I don't necessarily pick two teams from the same group. So I
haven't either. I haven't looked at the groups.
No, you're good. They're separate groups, kind of apart from each other. So, I have. You look at a lot of these teams. Germany has Jurgi Löw. Basically, his replacement's already been named. Spain has, worries that half their team is going to all of a sudden have to bow out due to COVID. They've got like a shadow squad practicing in case any of those guys have to step in based on tests. England has a lot of potential, but we know how England does when it comes to international tournaments. So for me, I'm looking at Belgium, and I'm looking at France and the wealth of talent that the two clubs have. And I see the two of them being in the final, and I see France coming away with that European Championship this year.
Actually, now that I got it up, I think I could probably pick who I think is going to be top for each one. I'm not going to pick two. And the first one, I'm going to pick Italy. That's going to be pretty easy. Second one, I'm picking Belgium. C, I'm picking Netherlands. D, I'm picking England.
I'm gonna dissent from you. That's another one, Netherlands. Anyone coached by Frank de Boer, I don't think you can trust. I'm going to give it to Austria.
Österreich. I'm going to see England, though the Czech Republic could spoil, but I think it's going to be England. Then I think money's on Spain for E. And then the F one, this is tough. This is almost like everyone else is looking at going like, I'm glad I'm not on that one.
Who did Hungary make angry to end up stuck in this group?
Hey, it's going to be Hungary. I'm still going to pick Portugal, and they're going to get just past Germany. But France is going to be so angry that they're not going to get in to the next level. So that group F, I guess that's the one that's where all the sports betting is going to happen.
I agree. I see France winning that group, and with Group E with Spain and all of the craziness, I'm going to choose
France
Poland.
beating both Germany and Portugal.
I do.
Wow,
a lot of talent on that French club.
There really is. I hate to admit it. So
75% of the world is covered by water. The rest of it's covered by N'Golo Kante. So, all right. Also, Adam's not here for me to did you see?
Okay, but I'll be here for it.
Our U.S. men's national team, of course, Christian Pulisic scoring the game winner. I think really, though, the play of the match is Ethan Horvath coming off the bench, making a couple of big saves, and then saving that penalty in extra time. I think he really deserves a lot of that credit for sealing that victory.
Well, there were two calls that had some controversy. Both of them led to penalties. And depending where you're at on each side of the fence, you were really questioning whether it should have been a penalty. But the deciding factor is the U.S. took care of business in penpenalties.
I think the more controversial call was the slide tackle that should have been a red card that didn't get a red card earlier in the stoppage or extra time. But
yeah,
that's fine.
It was intense, and these are the two big dogs in CONCACAF, and to be blunt, Mexico is the bigger dog. So that's what makes the victory, I think, even sweeter. Is do you think it's showing the U.S. is improving, or do you think Mexico had an off night?
No, I don't think Mexico had an off night, especially coming in scoring in the first 7 minutes of the game.
That's true.
And so,
but no Raul Jimenez.
That atmosphere was incredible. It was great to see that back, and I think that's the sort of catalyst that the U.S. men's national team was missing. That's what I have written here as kind of a question. I don't know. I'm not going to say that they're all the way there yet. I'm not. We play games like the 1-0 barely beating Honduras in that Nations League semifinal. We have to dominate those types of games. And we have to come to Mexico, and you have a game like this where you get punched in the mouth and you fight back and you find a way to come away with that victory. And that is a huge boost of confidence to young players like Weston McKennie and Tyler Adams and Christian Pulisic and Gio Reyna. And so to me, getting that swagger of realizing that, us and Mexico are the big dogs, and we don't have to be afraid of Mexico. We can push with them just as much as they can push other people. And hopefully that's going to help, that when they go into the Gold Cup and they're playing Martinique, that they're going to win that game 5-0.
Yeah.
The follow-up to that, they had that 3-0 victory against Costa Rica. Costa Rica is another, decent side in CONCACAF. And so being able to come and win that authoritatively when you might kind of expect to be on a bit of a hangover from the previous game was impressive to me. And I think that's a really big thing.
Yeah, there's a lot of teams like Costa Rica and Honduras that will bite you. And so you can't. It's not just U.S. and Mexico, and sometimes Canada. So it's. I think it's improving. I think the U.S. team is improving. I still think we have a ways to go, but it's exciting to see. And I'm hoping this will improve over time as we get more young players trained up through the ranks. Very cool.
All right.
I think you've got another update, don't you, Alex?
Last thing, we've got our Biggleswade report.
Ooh.
First, I'd just like to start with a shout out because these have been Biggleswade United heavy lately. But my friends, Biggleswade Town, Biggleswade FC, we still love you. We're looking forward for things to start happening as we get towards the end of the summer and y'all get ready for your seasons to begin in the Southern League. But Biggleswade United ladies got themselves promoted.
Yeah.
So they won their Bedford Hertfordshire Women's League, and they put in their application. So it's in England with their open system. They still have certain standards that they have to meet in order to move themselves up the various levels. You don't just start a club in the park and all of a sudden, poof, you're in the Premier League. And they got accepted. They are now part of the Eastern Region Women's Football League. So they have a Women's Premier League. They have a Women's Championship.
Yeah.
Second level. This Eastern Region is the fifth level. So they're 4 steps away from that Women's Premier League. And that's very exciting. We're very happy for them. If you look on the Wikipedia, you see a lot of similar names to some of these teams that the men's team plays in their Spartan South Midlands or in the Southern League where Biggleswade Town and Biggleswade FC are. People like Bedford, AFC Dunstable, Royston Town. So these are clubs in this area. It's going to be kind of a bigger step for them. They are looking to put a second women's team back into that Bedfordshire-Hertfordshire League. So they're going to continue to develop those ladies, and that's very exciting. So big day for women all across the world in Biggleswade, all the way to Chattanooga. Ways for young ladies to develop. And
Wolverhampton.
And we'll look for those ladies. Hopefully maybe the Biggleswade ladies can come over and take on the Chattanooga Lady Red Wolves in a fantastic exhibition sometime in the future.
That would be fantastic. That would be great.
All right.
That's
everything I got.
I got nothing, man.
Thank you so much for hanging with us. Thanks to Gretchen for joining us. And we'll see y'all on Sunday after the match for Off the Post. Bye.